Hello, guys. We're live, I think, and I'm hoping my mic's working. I've just suddenly had a horrible fear that it's not working. No, it is working, so that means you can hear me, which is good. Welcome to the Solo Club live stream. A quick bit of housekeeping. It's my birthday, so I've got a beer, which I'm going to open now. We have people in the room already. As always, I am going to turn off the chat at my end. You can still add stuff into it, but I don't want to be kind of distracted from what I'm about to show you, what I'm about to tell you. But yeah, stop wishing me happy. No, stop it. Honestly, stop wishing me happy birthday. No, I know you're too kind. Stop it. Stop sending presents and money and stuff. Uh, anyway, yeah, it's my birthday, 6th of October. If you're wondering, if you care, I'm 43 years old, which now I've just said that number out loud feels really old. But anyway, cheers. Who cares? It's just a number. You have to say that when you get into your 40s, anyone who's watching this, who's got into their 40s, will know that it's a bit of an eye opener. It's a bit of a wake up call because you suddenly think, right, okay, I'm now 40. That was 3 years ago, obviously. I'm now 40. The next big one is 50, which feels scarily close. Anyway, I'm not going to be down and depressed about this because it's a great day. It's my birthday. Anyway, I hope you're well. As always, if you're joining live, I can see quite a few people are joining now. Thank you so much for coming on board. It's your Friday. I'm always amazed that people bother to come on at all because I'm sure you've got better things to be doing. But thank you for coming on if you come on live. And also, if you're watching this in the future, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, give it a go. It always helps the channel, obviously. And a thumbs up if you enjoy what you don't have to give me a thumbs up straight away because you haven't heard what I'm about to say. But if you do enjoy these live streams, give me a thumbs up and that subscribe. It makes a massive difference. And also, if you haven't checked out the Substack newsletter, there's a link below. Basically, every Friday morning, I send out a written newsletter, which is a bit of I kind of describe it as a journal. It's one of those things where I share even more of what goes on behind the scenes in a free newsletter, basically. So check that out below. You can obviously unsubscribe if you don't enjoy it. No hard feelings, and it's free, so why not? Anyway, lots of people coming on. Is it because it's my birthday we're getting more people than normal at the start? I don't know. But thank you so much, guys, for coming on. I appreciate it. I will check out the comments later. If you're new to these live streams, what we do, I waffle on for a bit, basically. So I talk for about 15, 20 minutes sometimes, maybe not as long as that this time, about something. And then we turn over to you. And that's where I answer your questions. So while I'm waffling on, if you want to fill the chat with any questions that come up while I'm talking or anything you've got to ask me that you've wanted to ask me before, but you haven't had the chance to, stick it in the I always say the comments, I think it is, or the chat window, whatever it is on YouTube, stick it in there and I will answer all of them, I promise. And you can ask me anything. As it's my birthday, you can literally ask me anything. So it doesn't have to be about content creation. It doesn't have to be about YouTube or any of that stuff. If you want to ask me what my favorite color is, maybe something more interesting than that. I don't have a favorite color, actually. So it's pointless asking that one. But yeah, anything, just ask me a question. Right. Okay. What are we talking about? Quite a big thing, actually. A very big thing. This is something that I've talked about and kind of teased on and off over the last couple of 2 or 3 months, actually. And it's the Next Academy. So for those who aren't aware, back at the start of this year, toward the end of last year, start of this year, I ran the Medium Academy, which was a online cohort-based course for people who wanted to make something of themselves on Medium. If you're not aware, Medium is a writing platform which I'm fairly prolific on, and I've been successful on that platform. So last year, I decided to make a course around it and base it on a live cohort kind of thing. So I did that at the start of this year. It went really well. I can guess we've normally got 1 or 2 people from that cohort on this live stream. So hello if you're here. And yeah, it went fantastically. We did several weeks. I think it was it 9 or 10 weeks of live learning and talking about Medium and me sharing my expertise, if you like, on that platform. And it was great. I enjoyed it. I think everyone else enjoyed it. But I did realize halfway through that cohort that I could go much deeper because it was clear that people wanted to know more beyond Medium. They wanted to see what I was doing on YouTube, how the sponsorship side of things works. Really lifting up the bonnet of this business and going into much more detail beyond Medium. So I thought, let's do that. Let's create a much wider curriculum, a much bigger academy that really does do that thing where I lift up the bonnet and show you everything. So everything from the financial side of things to, like I say, working with sponsors, working with brands, dealing with different types of content. So dealing with short form, long form, written content, podcasting, and how all of that stuff links together because it does. Um, and that's what I'm doing basically. And I've been teasing this, like I say, for the last 2 or 3 months. And finally, it's actually ready. And you can, I say it's ready. We're not going live just yet, obviously. I'll come on to when we're doing that in a moment. But it's going live in terms of taking registrations. And it's called the Creator Academy. So it's all based under the Solo Club brand. And I've got a little team who are putting everything together behind the scenes because one of the biggest issues with these cohort-based courses that I discovered with the Medium Academy is that they are a lot of work. Now, I didn't assume they weren't a lot of work. Obviously, I knew it would take a lot of effort to get the thing up and running and do the actual course, the actual lessons themselves. But there's a huge engine behind it, which I really needed help with. So I've got a team doing that stuff for me. They've been busy working on the new website, which is now live, and all the structure behind it to make sure people can sign up easily and all that good stuff, basically. And I've been left out of that apart from saying yes, no, yes, no. And that's all I wanted because I'm a massive roadblock with that sort of stuff. All I should be doing is making the content, sharing the content, and taking questions and answers. That's what I'm good at. All the clever behind the scenes stuff is being done by the people. So it should work very well. Touch wood, I do trust them. Um, and like I say, it's called it's been rebranded as the Creator Academy. And it kicks off in January. Now, originally we wanted to do it in December, but December, well, it's October now. It's only a few months, only well, 2 months, 3-ish months away. It's way too close, basically. So we decided to go for January instead, partly to give us a bit more time to get people into the course, but also because it's that fresh start thing. And I've been in that position where I've wanted to start a new thing, a new business, a new creative endeavor or something at the start of the year. So we're hoping that people will want to jump into 2024 with the help of the Creator Academy and basically have me giving them a jump start, a head start with building a business like this. So it's in terms of the type of course it is. So the Medium Academy was a live thing where I did this. I was on camera talking and going through each part of the curriculum. I enjoyed doing that, but again, it's quite difficult to scale that because it's my time each week, and also it kind of ties people in. It ties the members in, or the students, whatever you want to, however you want to refer to them, as it basically ties them into turning up every single week, which can be a bit of a burden. I think it's much better to have a self-paced, drip-fed course, which means every couple of weeks I'll drop, as the kids say, a new lesson. I hate calling them lessons because it sounds a bit school-like, but it's the best way of kind of describing it. But let's call them modules. That's what they're called on the website. So every 2 weeks I'll drop a new module, but it's self-service, so you get it and then you can digest it and work on it on your own time. You don't have to turn up at 9 o'clock every night on a Monday and listen to me talk about it. So I think that'll work much better. I can selfishly scale that much better as well, much bigger. I can do more cohorts throughout the year. But the key thing is we didn't want to lose the kind of personal touch. I don't just want you to get that thing in your inbox and sit there going through it, which is why we're also having bi-weekly catch-up sessions with me, and those will be live. Those will be Q&As, a bit like this actually, but behind closed doors, not on YouTube, where members of the Academy can basically ask me any questions they've got about the course material they've just worked on, and then get some help one-to-one, if you one-to-many, hopefully. And that's the structure of it. So it's drip fed, it's completely done at your own pace, and you get the Q&As with me every couple of weeks. And I definitely hope that's going to work really well. Just a reminder, guys, while I have a quick sip of beer. It's my birthday, by the way. If you've just tuned in, I don't normally drink at 4:10 on a Friday afternoon in the studio, but it is my birthday, so that's why I'm doing this. So, if you're just coming in, I'm talking about the new Creator Academy. And also, sorry, just another piece of housekeeping. Again, if you've only just joined us on the live stream, stick any questions you've got about the Academy, about me, about content creation. And because it's my birthday, just anything, just stick questions in the chat window, and I'll come on to them in a moment. I'm not going to go into all of the details about the Academy because we'll be here all afternoon. But I will just give you a quick overview of each of the stages that it consists of, and then I'll point you in the direction of the website so you can go and check it out later if you're interested. But what I've done, I've split the Academy up into 4 different stages, and these stages kind of represent the way that I run this business. The first stage is the mindset stage, and yes, I am working from notes here. There's a lot to remember here, so if I keep glancing over there, that's why. The first stage is mindset. And the reason I start there is because to become a content creator full time, or even just do it on the side and have it as a side hustle, you have to get into the right mindset. So you have to get into the mindset of being a creator. And I had to do that just over 3 years ago. Even though I've spent most of my life creating things, I've never done it in this manner before. I've never done it as a business. And as it turns out, as I've learned over the last 3 years, getting into that mindset isn't particularly easy. And it really helps. I would have loved it if I'd had someone 3 years ago, like myself, who'd had that experience, who could tell me a bit more about that mindset and what you've got to be aware of. So there's no point in even starting, even planning content or thinking about your audience or any of that stuff unless you get yourself into the right mindset. So we spend some time on that. And then we do go into the whole, audience research, building your sub niche or defining your sub niche, and really targeting the right people. Finding out who your right audience is. People who have undertaken the Medium Academy will know what that's all about. That will be very similar with the Creator Academy, but just a bit wider. And then we go into things like building a content habit. Now, like anything in life, if it's the gym, if it's building a content business, if it's doing anything at all, learning a musical instrument, you have to get into the process of being consistent and making it a habit. Again, that's very difficult. And again, if I'd known what I know now 3 years ago, it would have been a lot easier during those early days. So the idea with this part of it, of the academy, is for me to share how I built that habit, and more importantly, how I've maintained that habit for over 3 years, which again, very itchy eye, sorry, again, hasn't been very easy, but I know some tricks to make it a bit easier. Stage 2 is the platforms, and that's where we talk about everything from YouTube to TikTok to Instagram, Twitter /X, LinkedIn, podcasting, what else? Medium, your own website, which is incredibly important. Again, people who have undertaken the Medium Academy will know how obsessed I am with my own website and how important that is to the whole thing. Newsletters, all that stuff will go into stage 2, and that isn't at that point we're not creating content. We're just going through each of those platforms, because they're all very different. Although they all do the same thing, they all let you put your own content onto them and build an audience. The way they operate and the algorithms and the types of content you put onto those platforms is very different across all of them. And again, I've built a lot of experience over the last 3 years going into those, working on those platforms. Stage 3 is the exciting. It's all exciting, obviously, but stage 3 is the exciting bit, because it is the whole content creation part of this business, and that's where we go into things like planning your content, ideation, the art of storytelling, content repurposing, which I'm very boring about, but it's basically content repurposing. If you don't do that, you won't get anywhere with these sort of businesses. You'll never grow it. You'll get to a certain point and it won't go any further, and you'll spend an inordinate amount of time doing things that you shouldn't be doing and wasting your time. Content repurposing is that important, as is your processes. Now, processes will form a massive part of this creation part of the academy. Because again, I'm very boring about processes. I can now create rather a YouTube video in a day. If I need to get one out, I've done it in less than that. I've done it in half a day before, if it's just a kind of talking head thing with very little B-roll. But you can't do that if you don't have a decent process or a rock solid, robust, unbreakable process. So we'll go into quite a lot of detail about that. And then stage 4, keep knocking the mic, sorry. Stage 4 is all about revenue and growth because, you know, if you're doing this to create a business or a profitable side hustle, I hate that phrase, but that's the best one that keeps coming to mind. It needs to be profitable. And the only way it can be profitable is if you can get a hang on your metrics and also understand things like the different sources of revenue that you can generate, the importance of building audiences in different platforms and how you get revenue out of those audiences. And then things like affiliate revenue, working with sponsorships, and yeah, like I say, how metrics work across each of those platforms. The other thing we'll do in the stage 4 part of the academy is look at community management, which is a very big part of being a content creator. Sometimes, in fact, most of the time, it's wonderful because you meet some lovely people, you see some lovely comments. I've always said 98%, I think it's that high, of people that will watch your stuff and comment on it will be lovely and will make you feel good about what you're doing. It's just that small 2% of idiots that you need to know how to deal with. But then equally, you need to know how to deal with the nice comments as well. It's a very, very important part of growing a content business. So that's the final stage, if you like. So we've got mindset, then platforms, then content creation, and then revenue and growth. Those 4 stages, and within those, there's 14 modules, which again I won't go into detail on this live stream, but it's all on the website, which is soloclub.online. There's a link below in the description of this video. And as you would guess, sorry, another quick drink. Cheers if you've just joined us. Cheers to Friday. Again, I'm drinking a beer at 4:15 on a Friday afternoon because it's my birthday, so I'm allowed to. It's fine. Yes, as you would guess, there is some bonus material that you get with this. So you don't just get these bi-weekly course modules from me. There's also going to be quite a bit of takeaway material to help you build your target niche, build your ideal audience profile. There's going to be a lot of Notion templates built into this course as well, which Notion is my preferred way of managing this business in terms of the app that I use. So lots of Notion stuff as well. There's also a Discord server, which is now free to join. Again, there's a link on the Solo Club website. So if you go to soloclub.online, you'll see a link to the free Discord server. That wasn't originally open to everyone. Originally, it was only going to be intended for Academy members. So there are some Medium Academy members in there already who have been nice and active and making friends with each other, and they've been having a good laugh in there. But everyone can now join it. The only difference is that if you become a Academy member, you'll get access to private channels, which are designed to give you more support as an Academy member, and also to help you work with other Academy members and share ideas and tips and wins and losses and successes and all that sort of stuff. So I do recommend jumping on that Discord server. Having seen what I've seen, you know what I mean? Having seen the growth of the Mark Ellis Reviews Discord server, if you're a member of that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That has turned into this amazing little community, quite a big community now, in which I don't play a massive role. I've kind of let them get on with it because I didn't want to be the kind of focus of attention on there. I do dip in occasionally, but it's those guys have made it what it is, which is this lovely community. There's friendships that have been built in there. They all help each other. They all have a laugh. It's a bit of an escapism. And I want to see the same thing happen with the Solo Club Discord server as well, which is partly why we've made it free to join. So check that out when you go to the Solo Club website. What else? Oh yeah, as part of all of this, and I've promised this again for a little while as well, but it's absolutely going to happen from next week onwards, is that there will be more Solo Club content on the YouTube channel. So at the moment, and certainly for the last 2 months probably, the only content I've been putting out on Solo Club has been these live streams, which I really enjoy, and I've kept them consistent, and I've kept turning up each week because it's relatively easy to do so, because I turn up, turn the camera on, talk, there's no editing, none of that stuff, and you guys get involved and you absolutely make it with your questions, which just reminds me to say, please add any questions you've got at the moment about the Academy, about content creation, about anything into the chat window. So the challenge with this is that has been the only type of content on Solo Club. The plan has always been to have normal, 8 to 10 minute helpful videos, vlogs, podcasts, etc. And there's been a few videos featuring that kind of stuff, but they've been very quiet over the last few months. So starting from next week, we will be having regular weekly Solo Club videos in addition to this live stream. And they will be the regular, helpful videos, 5 ways to become a content creator, that sort of stuff, where I'm standing here talking and it's been edited and what have you. But there'll also be the podcasts. They are coming back. I think we've published 3 interviews already, but we've got 4 in the can that I've done nothing with so far, which I feel very bad about because the people who I was interviewing were interviewed several months ago. Apologies if that was you, if you're watching this, but trust me, it's on the way. So regular videos, podcasts, and the third type of content is vlogs. So there will be vlogs, day in the life vlogs of me being a content creator and going about my daily life, which I hope anyway, will be interesting. I think it's something that people like to see. I'm certainly quite nosy like that. If I like the way that someone's doing something on YouTube, I quite like it when they start doing vlogs and you start to see what their life's about and how they manage their day, what they get up to. And that's what I'll be doing. So that is what the plan is. That is the plan, and we're going to stick to it. I've got a team now, as you might know. I've got a general manager called Niall, who has been absolutely amazing. He's been working with me for a month now. The idea being that he gives me a lot more time back, and gradually that's happening. And it's because of Niall and because of some of the other people that are working with me that I've been able to focus more on content creation, both here and on Marketplace reviews, and it's working brilliantly, and that the idea again is to free up my time to make more content for Solo Club and make the content for the Academy as well. So loads of exciting things happening on Solo Club, and the Academy may not be for you. This isn't for everyone at all. You may just want to keep watching this free content and getting the Solo Club newsletters every Friday, which is absolutely cool. I'm more than happy and flattered that you want to get that stuff. But if you want to go a step further, and you want to follow in my footsteps and build this kind of business, which isn't easy, guys. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It's the most enjoyable thing in terms of work that I've ever done. But never a day goes by when I don't encounter a challenge or something that gets in my head and won't leave it. And like anything in life, I've learned how to deal with those situations, with those challenges. I'm not a messiah by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not an expert, but I've got an awful lot of experience now. I do have a lot of experience running businesses beyond this anyway. So all of that has been fed into what I do, and it's being fed into the Academy. And what I've always said this about this industry. What I love about this industry is that there are very few gatekeepers. And what I mean by that is that when you meet other content creators and people who are doing very similar things to me, they share things, they share ideas, they share wins, they share losses, they share contacts, they share everything pretty much as they can. And it's been a bit of a surprise because I come from an industry that wasn't like that at all. It was the hospitality industry, the tech part of hospitality. We used to the company that I used to work for, we made software for hotels, and everyone was very guarded. If you met a competitor, you would not share anything. You wouldn't talk about anything, which kind of makes sense, I suppose. But because content creation, you don't really have competition in the same way. It's just a very open industry, which is why doing this kind of thing, doing these videos, but also doing opening the Academy and really lifting the bonnet on my business feels good, because there's more than enough eyeballs and ears to go around in terms of watching and digesting our content. So that's why I'm doing all this stuff, and I can't wait for you to get involved. So basically, if you want to check out the Academy, if you go to soloclub.online, there's a link below, which is why I keep doing that. There's more details in there in terms of the pricing, there's an early bird offer at the moment, which you can take advantage of up until December, I think. And just some of the details about the different modules within each of those stages that I was talking about earlier. But equally, if you've got any questions about it, you've got me now. Now is the perfect time, if you're watching this live, which quite a few of you still are, to ask me. If you're watching this in the future, leave a comment, send me an email, Mark at Mark Ellis. What's my new email address? Mark at markellismedia.uk. Get in touch and I'll answer your questions, basically. So that is my waffle over with. I'm going to have another another sip of beer, and then we'll get into your questions. Wow, there's a lot of happy birthdays. Stop it, guys. I wasn't fishing for happy birthdays, I promise. Wow, there's a lot of happy birthdays. Rob did confirm that I was coming through loud and clear at the start. I was very worried for the first time ever that I hadn't connected my mic properly to StreamYard, but I had, from the sounds of it, which is good. Thank you, everyone, for wishing me happy birthday. The man, the myth, the legend. Lots of familiar faces. Lovely. Wow, just loads of happy birthdays. Loads of happy birthdays, no questions, which is lovely. But come on, guys, let's get some questions. Alan says, "Hi, Alan. You're just editing your second YouTube video. I hope you're not editing it and watching this at the same time. I don't want to be responsible for you messing the edit up or something. So come back if you need to. But when I'm editing, I have to be locked in. I can't. I know some people who watch YouTube videos while they're editing, or they have podcasts on. Don't get that. I can't listen to music. I have to have headphones on, listening to myself talking and editing. I can't do it any other way." Alan, again, very niche at the moment, but starting another channel next week on advanced driving. Yeah, I remember you saying about this, which that sounds like a brilliant YouTube channel. Have to see that. When that's up and running, Alan, make sure you share it with us. Yeah, advanced driving. That sounds much more interesting than reviewing smartphones. You did stop to watch this. That's good. Good stuff. All right, guys, hit me with some questions. If you don't, I'm just going to sit here and drink a beer. Stand here rather and drink a beer. 43 years old. How did that happen? I've got a 15-month-old son now as well, which doesn't sound very old at all because it's not. But even that seems like 10 seconds ago that he was this big, and now he's running around the house, smashing everything up and poking the dog. That's gone quick, basically. So crazy. Alan is in Maidenhead this week. Have I ever been to Maidenhead? I don't think I have. I've been to most places in the UK because of my old job, but I don't think I've been there. Gavin's birthday is on Halloween. There must be a joke there, but I can't think of one. Any questions, guys? Oh, of course, Kevin's calling in from Florida, as always. Always very, very jealous of Kevin. I am coming to the States next year, so I'm booked to go to Las Vegas in January for CES for the first time ever. I have been to Las Vegas before, but I've never done CES. And I'm not sure what I'm expecting, but from what I've been told by people who have been, it's going to be a bit crazy. But I'm very much looking forward to getting back to the States next year. I think I'll be going a bit more next year, possibly, depending on how things work out. Alan, do you hold old videos on hard drives or in the cloud? A really good question. So old videos, a couple of things to bear in mind here. Because someone asked me a little while ago what I do with old footage. So footage that hasn't been edited, or just the stuff that you accumulate while you're making a video. What I do, I keep B-roll normally. So if I'm shooting B-roll of the new iPhone, I know that at some stage I might need it again. In fact, I definitely will at some point. So I always keep my B-roll on my NAS, which is down here. So it's kept on there and backed up elsewhere. I never keep A-roll because why would you? The finished videos, so that the finished and exported videos, again, end up on my NAS down here and get backed up. But also I have them on a portable SSD, which comes with me everywhere, basically. So I've always got access to those old videos. The reason that I do that is because I quite often have to refer to them or bring up footage from an old video for a new video. So if I'm doing a video, for instance, the one that went live today, which was about the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I referenced the S23 Ultra from Samsung, so I had to grab some footage of the S23 Ultra. I'm not going to shoot that again. I could do. I could get it out of the drawer and shoot some footage of it. That's a waste of time. So I dragged that out of the kind of library of old videos, basically. But yeah, so B-roll, I recommend keeping, depending on what type of channel and what stuff you're doing. If you are doing tech stuff, keep the B-roll. I've got a lovely, great big folder now of all sorts of B-roll of different devices, accessories, and what have you. It's lovely to know that is there, that I can dig into that whenever I need to. There are, I mean, if you're making an advanced driving channel, like Alan is, I'm not sure if you'd need the B-roll, but if you ever think you might need to use something again, just keep it. Storage isn't particularly expensive. You can, it's infinite. You can keep expanding it. Just make sure you back it up, obviously. Rob, there doesn't seem to be a link to the Creator Academy Discord server in the description. Okay, so if it's not in the description, Rob, it is definitely on the Solo Club channel, but I will add that. I'll add that to the description after this video is finished. I'm going to double check this now because, as always, there's always teething problems, obviously. But yeah, if you go to soloclub.online, and on the homepage, actually, about halfway down, it says join our free Discord. Please test that as well. All of this has been tested, but you'd never really test it properly until you get it out into the public's hands. So give it a go. But yeah, I apologize, it's not in the description of this video. I'll add that after this. Good spot. Rob always spots things like that. He's my quality control man. When you're editing, do you use one screen or multiple screens? Just one. I do. The reason I question that then is because my setup, which is over there, is I have a big display. So I have the Apple Studio display, and then to the left of that I have my 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is open, so I've got the screen there, but that's just open to double check email or look at Notion, for instance. The editing only takes place on that one studio display. I have dabbled with multiple displays, but it just doesn't stick for me. I don't know why. I just find working, as long as it's big enough, as long as it's a big display, I found that working on just one canvas works for me. I don't know why, but I know people do quite like having, their preview of the video here and the timeline here, or possibly the timeline here and the media bin over here. Again, I have experimented with that, but it's never stuck. I think it's a very personal thing, really. Do whatever works for you, whatever makes you more efficient and more proficient as an editor. Alan, you started using Notion this week on your recommendation. Good so far. Yeah, Notion is fantastic. I suppose its main benefit is a blessing and a curse, and the benefit it has is that it can be anything. So you can turn Notion into pretty much anything you want. And if, like me, you're using it as a content production system, if you want to call it that, you can build any kind of system you want to within it. But the problem with that is that you don't really often know where to start. Now, as part of the academy, as I say, there will be some templates that you'll get, and that will help you, give you a bit of a head start. But if you don't have that, my advice with Notion is to start very simply, even if it's just having a video production process. Just one page for videos where you have ideas, filming, editing, published. Start with that, and then behind the scene, it's not behind the scenes. As you go on, you can then add new pages for blogs. Then you can link those blog pages to your video pages. You might add another page for contacts, for sponsorship contacts, and then link that into the videos. That's pretty much what I've done. My Notion is a bit of a beast now. It's a very big thing. It's very efficient, but we're still adding things to it every day. There's something else being added to it, but that's just happened over 3 years, basically. So just start small and add things in, because you can get very bogged down with setting up Notion, and that's kind of the antithesis of being productive. That's the biggest problem with Notion, is that it is so capable, and it's such a massive blank canvas that can do pretty much anything. So yeah, just take your time with it, basically. Yeah, here you go. So Alan says, you find Notion daunting, which is what I was saying, really. Yeah, keep it simple. Keep it really, really simple. I would start with the Kanban idea, where you have those columns, ideas, filming, editing, published, done. My board's got about 18 different columns now, and some of them we probably don't use that often, but that's an idea of how far you can go with it, basically. Rob's made a very good point here. If you're running Mac, so if you're a Mac user and you have upgraded to Sonoma, you can turn Notion, the website Notion, into a web app that you can add to your dock, and it works brilliantly. I know Rob was a bit ahead of me on this. But it does work very well because it strips out all of the controls from Safari, and it turns that web app into an app. It's nice and fast. It's better than weirdly than the native Notion app. Yeah, I've started doing that, Rob, and it's very, very good. Rob's given an example of how to do it there, which is definitely worth doing. Alan has a question. Is this a question? Just saving to buy another action cam for some of the driving videos. Yeah, definitely stick with an action cam for two reasons. One of them is because they're very easy to rig up in your car. You just need one of those suction things and a little mounting thing, very straightforward. And secondly, the video stabilization on GoPros and things like the DJI Osmo Action 4 or 3 or 2 is very, very good for driving, because if you go over bumps and things, you don't see that in the footage. You might notice, if including myself, if you see people using GoPros and small action cams for video in cars, it almost looks like it's kind of moving slightly, like someone's operating the camera. All that is the built-in image stabilization correcting those bumps as you go over the road, and it works brilliantly. It looks very smooth. It looks very nice. I've seen other people rig up, DSLRs in their cars. Why? I've always said, keep it simple. Don't go mad with it. Nasos, happy birthday! Thank you very much. I think, is this the first time you've been on, Nasos? Nasos is he owns Mac O'Clock basically on Medium, and I've been both a contributor and also an editor on Mac O'Clock for how long, Nasos? Probably about 3 years actually. He's a good guy though. Thanks for coming on. Mark Gilroy's on. Hello, Mark. Shooting some B-roll for an upcoming video while watching. Wow, shooting B-roll and watching this video at the same time. Again, I hope I don't put you off. Don't blame me if I do, please. The iPhone 15 Pro Max in log is insanely good. There you go, insanely good. I agree. From what, I've not done it myself, but I have seen other people do it. I've seen some other videos where people have taken this phone, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and they've connected an SSD to the USB-C port, and they've shot directly onto that. I can't believe we can do this with an iPhone, but they've shot 4K ProRes log footage, so flat color profile footage via this port onto an SSD card drive, whatever. Well, you can do it onto a card as well. And then edited it in whatever DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro, and it looks amazing. It looks as good as what you get out of these cameras. Well, you don't quite get the depth of field that you get with proper lenses, but still amazing what you can do with the iPhone. The new iPhone's incredible. Cheers, guys. I have to keep saying this just in case new people are coming on. I'm drinking a beer at 20 to 5 on a Friday because it's my birthday. Happy birthday. Thanks, Rob. Very kind. Another Rob. You've been on plenty of times before, Rob. Do you wish you'd had a similar solo club course to do when you started off, and how important was it to make mistakes along the way? Yeah, you may have missed it earlier, Rob, but I was sort of mentioning earlier that if I'd had someone like me 3 years ago to tell me about those 4 different stages that I've kind of been through with this business, it would have been easier. It's like anything. It's always hindsight, isn't it? I think anyone who runs a business or who has learned to play a musical instrument or who's become a successful athlete or whatever would say the same thing. If they knew what they knew now back then they would have become more successful quicker, and they wouldn't have made the mistakes along the way, because mistakes are painful at times. They're embarrassing. They cost you time. They cost you money. They cost you occasionally, your reputation in either a big or a small way, and you have to pick yourself up off the ground, dust yourself off, and crack on, which isn't always that easy depending on the severity of the mistake. So yeah, absolutely. I wish I'd had something back then. I mean, when I first started, there wasn't really anything that I was aware of. There obviously were courses, but I kind of started just before people like Ali Abdaal were released their own kind of creator style cohort courses. So I missed a lot of that. I thought about joining his actually, but I didn't for whatever reason. And I just did it myself, basically. I've always been a bit like that. I've never paid, and this is I should do, but I've never paid a huge amount or invested a huge amount in learning myself. I've always I've always just done it the cheap way, which is trying things, breaking them, having no idea what I'm doing, and eventually working it out and just doing some research on YouTube, watching other people, admiring other people do it much better than me, trying to copy them, failing, working out why I failed, redoing it several times, and eventually getting it right. And making my own thing out of it and making my own style out of it, whatever it is. So yeah, in terms of making mistakes, the mistakes that you make in this game, in any business really, but certainly in this game, can be very painful because they can be mistakes that look very bad publicly. And I have done that. I can't think of any specific examples, but I'll probably build those into the academy when I've got a bit more time to think about them. But yeah, you have to make mistakes, unfortunately. But the lovely thing about people like myself and other people that are now imparting their knowledge and their experience is that you can learn a lot of this stuff for free. You don't have to sign up for an academy to learn a lot of this stuff. I'm not selling myself here very well, but I'm not selling the academy here very well at all. But that is true. It's an unmistakable truth that you can get most of the information you need from joining in on live streams like this, joining Discord servers like the academy Discord server, or just making mistakes and learning from them. Thank you. Lots of nice birthday wishes. Am I celebrating this weekend? Yeah, I'm going to have a couple of beers tonight, I think. I am working tomorrow morning, which is a bit rubbish. But then tomorrow evening, myself and my girlfriend are having a rare these days date night. So we're going to go and what are we doing? We're going for dinner. In fact, we're just going for dinner, a couple of drinks. It's going to be lovely. Harrison's going to be looked after by his auntie, and we're going to go out and be on our own. And look, we love our son, obviously, but we're going to be on our own in a pub. And it's going to be amazing. So that's tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we're going to Warwick Castle, which is just down the road. And we've never been. So if you've never heard of Warwick Castle, just do a quick Google. You'll find it. It's a lovely castle, obviously. Literally just down the road from here. And it's a very popular tourist destination. So we're going to go and do that. Do a touristy thing on Sunday. Rob, have you figured out what went wrong with the performance of the iPhone 15 Pro Max versus Galaxy S23 Ultra video? How did your YouTube analytics rank it? Okay, so in terms of ranking, so Rob is referring to my comparison between the S23 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which went live on Sunday last week. And to not put too fine a point on it, it pretty much tanked. Tanked is probably a little bit unfair, but it didn't do very well at all. It was very slow. So if you're aware of how YouTube Studio works, when you publish a video, it gets after 30 minutes, it gets ranked out of 10 based on the number of views against the last 10 videos. So if you get a 1 out of 10 video, like I've had today, actually, today's video has just gone 1 out of 10, I've just noticed, which is amazing. That's brilliant. That means it's the best performing video out of the last 10 videos at this point in time. The S23 Ultra versus iPhone 15 Pro Max video, I think, started off as an 8 out of 10, which is a horrible number. 10 out of 10 is terrible, obviously, but 8 for some reason is worse because it's like in the middle of not very good and terrible. And it's just what's going on, and it stayed like that for ages. I changed the title, I changed the thumbnail, picked up a bit, and it kind of got to a 7 out of 10, which is roughly where it's staying now. And what's it done? So in terms of analytics, where are we? Oh, that's the wrong video. Find the right one. So in terms of analytics, it's done 7,500 views now after nearly a week. Whereas a lot of other people's videos, which were similar to this in terms of the comparison between those two devices, were doing 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 80, 90K. And I'm sitting there thinking, what's gone wrong? So on my newsletter, the Mark Ellis Reviews newsletter a couple of days ago, I asked the question. I said to the members of that newsletter, what did I get wrong? I want to know what you thought about the video. And I got some really interesting feedback. Interestingly, the retention on this video is very good. It's much higher than normal. So the people who are watching it are watching it for longer. And don't get me wrong, 7,500 views is still amazing. It's 7,500 people have watched that video. These numbers are still ridiculous, but equally, I expect more from that, basically. It should have performed better. I would like to have seen at least 20,000 on that video. When you bear in mind that my first iPhone 15 Pro Max, my first impressions video of that phone, that's done 65,000 views now, I think. And a lot of the S23 Ultra videos that I've done have gone even beyond that. They've done very well. So it was annoying, basically. But the retention's up. Hasn't brought in a huge number of subscribers. If you're interested, it's made £22 on AdSense from 7,500 views. That gives you an idea of how AdSense works. So yeah. So in terms of the metrics, some of them are quite good. Like I said, the retention's quite satisfying. But in terms of what went wrong, like I said, I asked the newsletter guys, and some of the feedback was interesting. I think the overriding kind of feeling that there is that these comparisons aren't very interesting. We're at a point now where all these phones are pretty much the same in terms of how fast they are and the things they can do. It just comes down to personal preference when it's things like the camera, the operating system, Android versus iOS. And someone made a very good point, which was that in the original video title, it was camera test. It said iPhone 15 Pro Max versus S23 Ultra, the camera test. And someone made the point that isn't very interesting because cameras on these phones are fairly similar. I'd argue they're not. And actually, the conclusion that I draw in this particular video reveals that they really are not very, very similar at all. But equally, that's irrelevant because I think the general perception among consumers is that a camera is a camera on a smartphone. They all take decent photos. Who cares with a comparison? And the person who left, I can't remember who it was. If they're watching this, apologies. But whoever was watching it noted that the tech chap, who's a guy who's got 1.4 million subscribers, he's been doing this for many, many years. He did a very similar video. I think I got mine out first, actually, possibly. But apparently this guy said, who commented, that he said that the tech chap put it out with a very similar title and then removed it. He removed the camera mention. And him being a very experienced YouTuber, you can probably see why. So I've removed camera from the title of this video in a last-ditch attempt to see if I can push it a bit further. I don't know. I think it was. I think there's two things. I think people are a bit fatigued with smartphone comparison content, and two, it might have been a bit late. It was a week after the release of the phone, a long time after the release of the S23 Ultra. That was released back in February or whatever this year. Timing and also, timing is a big thing with YouTube. That's one thing I've learned. Timing really trumps the title. It trumps the thumbnail, believe it or not. Timing and the topic in question is, if you get those two things right, the video will do well. There's no two ways about it. It will do very well. So yeah, I think long answer to that, Rob, but that's kind of what's happened. Again, I need to do a bit more thinking about it because equally, going back to the mistakes, I made some mistakes with this video, I think, and I need to learn from them. We as a team here need to work out how to avoid those in the future. So it was a very interesting, annoying but fascinating video in terms of performance. Interestingly, if anyone on this live stream has watched that video and has an opinion on whether it was good or bad, particularly the latter, that's what I need to know. Get involved. Get involved and let me know. Rob, I wonder if people who already have the new iPhone or Samsungs just aren't that bothered how the other phone performs. And there is that. A lot of people said that, Rob, that people don't really care because if you're an iPhone person, iOS is your thing. If you're a Samsung person, Android is your thing. Why would you care what the other one does? The purpose of these videos, to be completely honest, is to get the Android versus iOS thing going. It's to light a fire beneath that audience because people do, well, they get very, as you know, tetchy about that, and it's almost like a football team rivalry. So a lot of these videos are designed to get that crowd in because YouTube, if there's one thing YouTube absolutely loves, it's engagement. If you create a video that creates loads of talk and, fighting in inverted commas between the people in the comments, that's fantastic. In terms of the how that affects the performance within the algorithm, it's gold dust. So quite often these kind of videos are made to incite that kind of debate, if you like. Just didn't work. Or it didn't work well enough. That's the weird thing. That I didn't really get trolled. I really thought I'd get trolled by the S23 Ultra crowd because, spoiler, the iPhone wins in terms of the camera comparison. It's a better, more reliable camera. Even that didn't bring out the Samsung people who normally hurl things at me, theoretically, when I say anything bad about the S23 Ultra. So interesting. Still a few more happy birthdays coming in. Thank you, guys. Any other questions? I'm not sure what it's like just to watch some bloke drink a beer live on YouTube. Maybe that could be a new thing. Maybe I could do that every Friday. Just stand here and drink a beer and talk rubbish as you do down the pub. Let me know if you want me to do that. I'll be quite happy to oblige. Maybe I should do it live from a pub one day. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Won't do that. Any other questions, guys? Questions about the Academy? Just any birthday questions in terms of because it's my birthday, but just ask me anything, basically. Go for it. I'm just looking at this. Now you've got me looking at this, the stats for this video, Rob. In fact, I'm going to show you guys. Let me show you it. Let's share the screen. In the interests of not gatekeeping things and showing you stuff, that said, is there anything on here that I shouldn't show you? No, I can share this. I can definitely share this. Share screen. Where are we? Okay, so here we go. So these are the analytics for this video. This is the video that I've been talking about, the iPhone 15 Pro Max versus the Galaxy S23 Ultra. So as you can see, 7,500 views, watch time, 653, if you round it up, hours, 11 subscribers. That's a bit poor. It hasn't brought in many subscribers, which is not great. I don't like that number. It doesn't look great. And £22. So those trolls who think that we're getting paid millions for doing this stuff, that's not even going to buy you a takeaway. It's definitely not going to fill my car with petrol in the UK. So, but what has just interested me actually is this is the real-time views. So this shows you an hourly kind of idea of how many views it's bringing in per hour. And this is low, 11, 13, but it has picked up a bit. It's actually picked up, when was that? Today, wasn't it? So a couple of hours ago, it picked up quite a bit. And I think around that time, about 12 hours ago, I changed the title. I removed the photo battle thing out of it. So it doesn't mention photos in the title now. That may have had a bit of an impact on it. That's quite encouraging that it's gone up. Equally, that could just be a coincidence. Who knows? But yeah, in terms of the retention, this is always interesting. I'll be doing lots of this on the Academy, as you can imagine, sharing a lot of this stuff. But so the average view duration, 5 minutes, 12 seconds. That's pretty good for this video, given how long it is. Average percentage viewed, 40%. Not bad. But you can see here, actually, the retention. This dip here is a sponsor read. So this is me introducing the video here. And then we get to this stage, I'm talking about the Banks. Is it the Banks? Should know this. Yeah, I think it's a Banks sponsor. The Banks sponsor read, the engagement drops off. People probably skip at this point. Some people carry on watching and hopefully end up buying stuff from Banks to make it clear that I can still do a sponsor read properly. But a lot of people drop off, and then it picks up again. And as you can see, it's just above average during the meat of the video here, which is nice. So that was good. Quite happy with that. But yeah, the rest of it, the reach, how's that done? 116,000 impressions. 4.6% click-through rate, which isn't great. A very good click-through rate for me is about 8 or 9%. Occasionally I've seen it more than that, but 8 or 9 is really good. Unique viewers, 6.2 thousand, which suggests lots of things actually, but it's not many people are coming back to watch it, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, why would you watch the same video twice? I don't know. Engagement, we just looked at that. Audience. This is always interesting. These are the age and gender. So you can see, I don't get this at all. 100% of people are male. Is that really the case? Hope not. This is always interesting. So 53% of the watch time, 54% was from subscribed people, which is great. 46%. Again, that's not a bad number, but the fact I only brought in 11 extra subscribers from that 46% isn't great. So I'd much rather see a bigger number for the number of subs brought in. And then the top geographies, so mainly United States, just pips United Kingdom. Age groups is always interesting. These two columns here tend to be the same on any video really. So my main audience is based in the States, the majority of it, and the 35 to 44 year age group is yeah, that's the bulk of it really. Yeah, and that's it really. Revenue, £22. What should I do with that? I might buy myself another beer. That's roughly the price of a pint if you go into London or Warwick. So yeah, there you go. There's a quick glance at my stats for that video. I'll do this more, I think, on these live streams because it's nice to share this stuff with you. I don't think I've shown you anything there that I shouldn't show you. There's no, just making sure there's nothing terrible in here that you shouldn't see in terms of private data, but there's not. I can share it. Questions, guys. How do I stop presenting this? Stop screen. There we go. Richard, when do you think Apple will bring out a folding phone? Never. I've thought a lot about this. I've made videos about it. I've written about it. At one point, I thought they would, but I just think the tech is so. For them, it's just not good enough. Having a fold, my podcast co-host Rob will kind of attest to this. Having a fold in the middle of a screen that you can see and you can feel and looks a bit unsightly is not Apple. And we're a long way away from having a phone that either folds or rolls or whatever, a display that folds or rolls, sorry, that doesn't have any kind of indentation or something when you open it up. I just think that's not good enough for Apple. I don't think it will ever be good enough for Apple. I think what we're going to see is gentle iterations of the iPhone, for the next few years, and then a full transition over to mixed reality, as they call it. Starting with Vision Pro in next year. That's their goal. I think eventually that will, the kind of Vision Pro type stuff will replace the iPhone. I don't think we'll ever see a folding iPhone, personally. Mark. If you go into the advanced settings, what was the traffic breakdown of browse suggested search? Let's have a look. That's a very good question. Traffic source, let's have a look. Yeah, so browse was 4,000 views, mainly browse, basically. So most people were finding it browsing through YouTube. YouTube search, 1,200. Suggested videos, 580. That's not great. Suggested is when it appears on the right-hand side or somewhere in YouTube when they're watching something else. And it says, here's some more videos that you might like. Only 580 views from that. That's not brilliant. External, 482. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit disappointing, really. What's the click-through rate? That's a good question. I hope this is interesting, guys. I know that we've gone completely off topic here in terms of looking at this. Why has this stopped? I can't show you. Click-through rate, 4.6%. So, like I said before, not brilliant. Impressions was 116,000. Thank you, Richard, for the happy birthday. Very kind of you. 1 year older, etc., etc. Gavin, have you ever looked at the Meta Quest 3 to review? No, but Rob, again, my podcast co-host, keeps telling me to try it out, and I think I will at some stage, possibly later this year with the Meta. Is it the Meta Quest 3, 4, whatever it's called, the latest one? So no, I haven't, but I need to in advance of checking out Vision Pro next year. I need to get into VR. Because the only thing I've done with VR, AR really, is the whole, the glasses thing that I reviewed a few weeks back, a couple of months ago. I'm so happy that next year EU law, Digital Market Act, forced side loading on the iPhone. Yeah, I mean, that side loading isn't something I've ever really got into on the iPhone. I dabbled with it ages and ages ago, and I don't know. I don't like the idea of accidentally destroying my iPhone because I can't be trusted with it. But I think for people who do want to do that and can be trusted with their own gear and are doing it for very good reason, it is great news. Yeah, good stuff. Any other questions? As always, I really hope these live streams are interesting. If you'd like to see me do them in a different way, or if approach them differently, or ask differently, kind of encourage different questions from you, or do more of this sharing like I've just done, which was very ad hoc, please let me know. I need that sort of feedback. So that's a good thing. I assumed it was a search video, but the algorithm was serving it up. That's a good point, actually, Mark. I'm probably being a little bit downhearted about this, a bit too down about it. Yeah, it was very. I think what Mark's saying here is that it's very much the engagement and the reach and the impressions that I was getting was very much contained within YouTube. So the algorithm it was promoting it. It has had 7,500 views, and as I just showed you, they're picking up from the looks of it. So I shouldn't be too downhearted about it. It was just the initial week's worth of performance was, for me, wasn't good enough really. And the important thing with that, I mentioned this on the newsletter, is that I don't blame YouTube for that performance, because it has nothing to it has something to do with YouTube because it's their platform. But in terms of the way it performed, that's down to me. If you ask any big YouTuber, people like Mr. Beast, etc., they always say it's if a video performs badly, it's not the algorithm, it's you. You've done something wrong. The title's wrong, the timing's wrong, the subject is wrong. The first 2 or 3 frames of the video aren't good enough. You have to look at it. You have to look in the mirror and ask yourself what you got wrong, which is why I've been down about that video, because I know I've done something not quite right. And you guys will, if you're doing this already, you'll know what it's like. But if you're going to get into this kind of stuff into YouTube, trust me, you'll learn. When you've put a lot of effort into a video, and that video took me a long time to make. I went to London for 2 days. The editing for those kind of videos where you've got camera comparisons and stuff, even just the organization of all the footage and stuff, it's a real pain in the backside, takes a long time. So you've got this, you've invested all this time, effort, and travel and stuff into it. And I like it. I think it's a good video. I really do. There's little things in it that could be improved, but on the whole, I'm proud of that video. So you put all that stuff together, you want it to perform well, and you think it should perform well, and when it doesn't, it's really annoying. But you do have to look at yourself. It's down to me. The buck stops with me with that. Do you ever use AI to help with your content? Not with Mark Ellis Reviews content, but I do when I do produce the regular Solar Club videos where I'm standing here and talking about stuff. They do get put through Gling, which is I think I've talked about this on a live stream before. And in fact, I made a video about it on this channel. If you scroll back a bit, you'll find it. It's where you film yourself. So you do your filming. You chuck the resulting file into Gling, and then Gling watches it for you basically and gives you a full transcript and cuts out what it thinks are the bad takes. So it cuts out silences, cuts out multiple takes of the same line if you say the same line again and again and again, and it picks what it thinks is the best one. But then the brilliance of it is that you can see what it's done, and you can correct things that you can bring stuff back in that it's taken out. You can put extra cuts in yourself, and when you've done that, you export it from Gling into Final Cut Pro, Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, etc., and you have this edited piece of A-roll, and it can cut out an hour, 2 hours of your time from editing it yourself, and that works very well for Solo Club videos. So for Mark Ellis Reviews at the moment, no, but yes, with Solo Club content. The reason I don't do it with Mark Ellis Review stuff is because I think I'm still far too precious about the A-roll editing process for that. I think because it's a harder, it's a more there's more storytelling going on the Mark Ellis Reviews channel, and I don't trust AI, which is ridiculous because it's probably better than me. But at the moment, I don't trust AI to do that for me, so I tend to keep that keep it to myself. But at some point, I will, or I'll outsource it. That is inevitable at some stage. Right, guys, I'll give you one more chance for some more questions before I head home and enjoy my birthday without doing any work, which would be nice. Although it's been a good day today, got a good video out, a nice, from the looks of it, a very nicely performing video. Let's double check live the performance of today's video. So today's video is all about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's like a 2-week review, basically. If I go into the analytics, so it's done 2.6 thousand views, which makes it, if I go to my dashboard, a 1 out of 10. So it's the best performing video, just from the looks of it, out of the last 10 videos after 2 hours of publishing. So that's a lovely way to finish a Friday. 1 out of 10 is great. Great. Rob, what's this? Put that 22 quid AdSense bounty towards pre-ordering a Quest 3. They're only 479 quid. They are cheap, aren't they? Which is still a lot of money, isn't it? But given, I'll be spending $3,000 probably on a Vision Pro, £479 for a Quest 3. That is nice. Assuming you don't buy an upgraded head strap, charging stand, any of that guff. An upgraded head strap. This is where I start to lose interest in VR. But I'm not going to. I'm going to go for it, I think. Or if you're going to buy an upgraded strap, skip the official Meta one. Bobo VR M3 Pro is where it's at. I'm sure I got that name wrong. Possible sponsor opportunity. Possibly. Who knows? That could help pay for the headset. So Gavin's ordered his. Apparently, I'm going to have to get one, aren't I? I'm going to have to do it. Right, guys, I am going to sign off now because it is my birthday and I should be at home now spending time with the family and with my son before he goes to bed. So thanks so much for getting involved. As always, it's been a really nicely attended live stream today. I hope all the stuff about the Academy made sense, but if it was a bit rambling, as these things often are, the website is there for that reason. It's much more concise. It tells you exactly what it's all about, why you should sign up, if it's something for you. And regardless of that, you can join the free Discord server. So get into that Discord server, check it out. It's completely free. And again, you can leave if you don't enjoy it. There's we're not holding you here to do this stuff. But yeah, if you're interested in the Academy, check out that link. And as always, guys, if you've enjoyed this video, either live or watching it in the future, give it a thumbs up, please, because it does make a massive difference to the way this channel performs and it gets out there. And if you can, just give me a little subscribe. That's a thumbs up. Anyway, cheers, guys. Thank you for getting on board. Again, I'm going to do that thing now where I press end stream, pretend to walk off over there, and then 2 seconds later, creep back around to make sure it's gone off air. One day, it's definitely going to happen where I come back round and you're all still there. And it's going to be very embarrassing. Let's see if it doesn't happen this time. But yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next live stream next week. Cheers.